You can call on Jennie B. I'ma call you can say just what you mean. It's so nice. It's so nice. Yeah. Here I go. You can call Jennie B. Here I go. Talk about Jennie B. It's life. It's the fabric of life. The fabric of life. The fabric of life.
Good evening, and good evening. I am your host, Miss Jennie B, and you have just turned in to another episode of Fabric of Life. Thank you so much. So tonight, I wanted to talk about mental, physical, and spiritual health. This month is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. It's also Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And then last week was World Mental Health Day. So before we dive into that, I want to say thank you to my gracious engineer, Mr. Joe. I appreciate him so much. He does not have to take the time out of his schedule. Yup. And you know, as I say, you jump in the conversation anytime you want to, because it's important. I got a guy as my guest tonight, right? And a lot of times men don't talk about like their health. And so I just think it's important for other men to share because ladies, if you know what he dealing with, what he going through, it might help you too. All right. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. And there are several things that can happen in our lives that contribute to our mental health, our physical health, and our spiritual health. And believe it or not, each one of those are actually interconnected and intertwined in some way, shape, or form. And we're going to talk about a little bit about that tonight. I can't remember when I heard this message, but my pastor was talking about unforgiveness and bitterness. And he was talking about how unforgiveness and bitterness can be the cause of some physical ailment sometime. And I know everyone has heard the phrase, he or she, they died of a broken heart. Like, that's real though, y'all. And I didn't really think it was real until I got older. As a child, you hear grown folks talking, and as my grandma say, get out of grown folks' business. But you still overheard them conversations. They trying to put you in the other room, and you trying to sneak and hear what the grown-ups is talking about and what's going on in the grown-ups conversation. But as I got older and began to experience life, I understood what that meant, that phrase, being dying of a broken heart. And sometimes you can die and still be living, right, of a broken heart, meaning that some people just exist. They're not really living. And we touched on that a little bit, last week when we were talking about second chances and chances, and just taking a chance on yourself. My engineer Joe mentioned, some people get into that mundane, and he shared his personal story about just leaving a great job, taking a chance on himself, and then what that did and what that took, but it was courage, right? And so that courage, that same level of courage, is the same courage we as individuals and people need when it comes to taking control of your mental health, your physical health, and your spiritual health. Now, I grew up, my grandparents raised me, so they're from Georgia. So anybody that know, you have people from the South, what they cooking? Greens, macaroni and cheese, fried chicken, ham hocks, all this food that's good, but has high levels of sodium, high levels of salt, fat back and bacon. And they used to make their own sausage and hog head cheese, which is disgusting. But we used to have to help make, and, we used to have that thing attached to the table. My grandmother used to make us take turns turning the thing to churn up the meat and to make the sausage and, make homemade preserves. Now, I learned a lot from learning how to do those things. So today is the reason why I have the work ethic that I have, because of my grandparents. But I now make my own golden beets. I can them myself, right? But I would never got that had I not learned that from my grandparents. And so tonight we're talking about the importance of having good mental health, physical health, and spiritual health. Now, my guest tonight, he'll be coming on about 7:15, but his name is Michael Cochran. I met him when I was in the first play that I got back in, when I got back into acting, called Cinderella. And from the onset, he was always very nice, very pleasant, very hospitable, always willing to help wherever help is needed. And over time, we've just stayed in contact. We've worked together on other projects, and different things like that. But one thing that I know about Mr. Cochran, he has always been the type of person, and still is, that will help anywhere. He has his own talent agency. And so he looks for talent, and also he always shares resources. If anybody has a casting going on or anything like that, if Michael knows about it, best believe he's going to share. He always sends me information of different things that are going on. And sometimes I'm able to go and sometimes I'm not. But I so appreciate him. And so he shared with me, as he's getting older, and he said, it's important for me to really focus in on my health and, maintain a certain weight for my acting, and different things like that, and then keep that weight, as well. So we're going to hear from him. He's going to share, his journey, with mental health and physical health and spiritual health. And the reason why I say all of those are intertwined in some way is because thoughts is the beginning of everything, right? So everything begins and ends with a thought. Once we have thoughts, those thoughts turn into actions or behaviors, and then that is how things take place. Now, growing up as a child, everybody has a different upbringing. Everybody has a different environment. And some people weren't raised in a good environment. Some people were raised in challenged environments in their lives and different things like that. And we touched on this last week. Every decision we make has some effect on something in our childhood at some point. I am a person, I listen to a lot of affirmation and motivation every single day because I believe in commanding your morning. And what that means to command your morning is how you start your day is how the flow of your day is going to go. And so I'll give you an example. On Sunday, I'm preparing for church. And so if I'm preparing for church and my children know this, don't call me. Only because I'm trying to mentally prepare myself to go to worship service, unless it's an emergency or, you really, really need something. So, but my girls know that, like, okay, don't call mama with no foolishness on Sunday morning, because then what happens? I'm gonna go to church mad. I'm gonna go to church angry. And then am I going to be able to receive the word that God has for me that day? Probably not. Because I'm going to still be mad riding in the car, whatever the conversation was, and different things like that. And so I take that same philosophy, though, and I do that every day. So how you start your day is how your day is going to progress. A person will only do what you allow them to do. So dealing with a broken heart can sometimes often feel as if nothing can fix it, right? But the only way that can be fixed is that we, individuals, we have to be open to getting help. I used to say, oh, I'm a perfectionist. But as I got older, I learned that that's not really good to say, right? Because no one's perfect. And we all make mistakes. And so sometimes we're harder on ourselves than we need to be. God is not even that hard on us like we are hard on ourselves. So we're going to give out some tips, some tips for a good mental health. We're going to give out some tips for a good physical health, as well as a good spiritual health. And so I'm getting ready to message our guest because we're getting ready to, it's almost 7:15, so I want to let him know we're getting ready to bring him in. So if you want to call into the discussion, though, while we're getting our guest on the line, the call-in number is 248-854-9850. Now, I have some gifts to give out tonight. So, because we're talking about mental health, physical health, and spiritual health, I am a distributor of a company called Tava. And so what Tava represents the Ark, which is the Ark of the Covenant, which is in the Bible. And so this company is an all-natural health product company. And so tonight, I'm going to give out some gifts. I got a Starbucks gift card to give away. And then I have an affirmation framed artwork that I want to give away tonight. And you know what? I'm gonna give out a 5-pack of CBD coffee. Now, I'll tell y'all about the CBD coffee. Comes in a little sachet like this. It's all natural plant based. I drink this every single day. This coffee helps with stress, anxiety, depression. It keeps you calm, chill. So I drink this every morning. So when I'm dealing with work or people like tripping, I don't be tripping. I just be like, okay, that's it. Okay. You say you, okay, not a problem. And this coffee right here, y'all, it's thebomb.com. So I'm giving away a 5-pack. I'm giving away 5 packs. Now, typically these are 5 packs for $35. I'm going to give one away. Now, here's what the rules are. The first 3 people to go to my website, and I'm going to give out my website, and place an order, you're going to get one of those 3 items for free. So I brought because I don't want people like, she ain't giving out nothing. Anybody that orders from me, they always get a free gift. So here's the quote, and it's brand new. Y'all see this? It's brand new, still in the frame. It says, "There will always be someone who can't see your worth. Don't let it be you." So I just wanted to encourage you on tonight, like, whatever God has put in you, you're enough. Even the quirkiness, when I was little, people just called me a nerd. Of course, it bothered me growing up, but as I got older, I didn't care. In high school, people used to always come to me and, can you write me a pass? Because I knew how to write real good and I knew how to sign the signature of a few teachers. So, they would pay me $1 to write them a hall pass in high school. But that's the entrepreneur spirit, y'all.
That sounded like that was probably me asking you for that hall.
It's all right. By the end of the day, I made about $10, $15 just on hall passes. And so actually I got a few things. So here is, and I'm gonna take this out the box because I don't want nobody to think I ain't got these gifts. This is a Starbucks gift card, right? Giving this out. I drink the Frappuccinos. That's about it. But, and the cake pops. I ain't gonna lie. Birthday cake. So the first 3 people, and I'm going to give the website to my engineer so he can type it and put it on the screen, as well. And I also have, let's see what else I got in this bag. I have another framed art. It says, "Positive vibes only." I believe in energy and synergy. And if I sense a negative spirit, you can't be around me. I don't want to be around you, because that stuff rubs off. And I just don't want that drama in my life, right? I'm trying to have positive people, positive energy. So I'll give you an example. If you have people around you, you share with them your plan, your goal, and they say, "Man, how you think you're gonna do that? Man, you don't need to do that. You ain't even got no money." How they know what you got? You might not. They only know what you told them. They don't know everything. Or you go to your girls like, "Girl, yeah, I think I want to start a boutique, or I want to start a business, or I think I want to do this, or that." And if they come to you and they like, "Girl, I don't even know why you wasting your time. Girl, nah, you need to throw that to the side. We about to go to the club and do this. Okay, if that's what you want to do. But if you're trying to move forward and create a better life for yourself, or create a better mindset, you have to surround yourself with like-minded people. The Bible says that. It talks about surrounding yourself with like-minded people. It also talked about iron sharpens iron. So who's sharpening who? I want to be in a room with people who are already doing what I want to do, already have the financial status backing that I want to have, so I can learn from them and figure out, how do I get to that point? What do I need to do? Every millionaire in the world has a particular mindset. They have a particular discipline. Every athlete, anybody that does anything on a large scale, they have some type of regimen where there's a daily discipline. So I'm going to see if he is ready to come on so we can talk to our guest tonight. All right, y'all. All right, let me see if he messaged me back. Okay, he messaged back. He's ready. I tell him click on the link. Gotta be clear with people, cause he ain't on the screen yet, is he?
Nah, not yet.
All right. Next time I'm gonna text him at 7. Click on the link so you sitting in there waiting.
Ready.
Yeah, so you could be ready.
Mm-hmm.
But I did share that, you know. Okay, so he's messaged me back. All right. So while he said he did click on the link. Is he on the screen? He in there? So the video not working again. That's probably what it is. Okay. We just gonna have him call the number. I don't know what's going on with that video. I'm gonna have to have Miles look at that.
He said he's on. He clicked on it.
Yeah, he said he clicked on the link. We're not gonna worry about it. We're not gonna hold it up. I just told him to call the number, and we'll just bring him in on the phone line. Okay. All right, y'all. If you're just tuning in, you're tuned in to another episode of Fabric of Life. I am your host, Jennie B. And tonight we're talking about the importance of having health, good mental health, physical health, and spiritual health. All right. I think we have our caller. Good evening. You are on the Fabric of Life with your host, Miss Jennie B. Is this my guest, Mr. Cochran?
Yes, ma'am. How you doing? How you doing?
Oh, good evening. We can hear you. Awesome. So first, I've already introduced you. So just share a little bit about yourself with our guests before we dive into our topic.
My name is Michael Cochran. I'm an I'm an employee at an airport airline company. Like to act. I like to write. And I also enjoy going to the Riverwalk even when I travel. And I like to embrace positive, encouraging words, even if positive, encouraging words. Even most important thing is all about God.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that. Welcome to the Fabric of Life. Let's give him a round of applause, you all. We appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule tonight to share, to share your journey as it relates to the importance of having good mental health, good physical health, and good spiritual health. And I want you to share it from a man's perspective, because too often we don't get to hear a man's perspective on the importance of those three things and how those things affect our man. And so a lot of times we as women, we do all the talking, and we don't allow, men to have the comfortability to share what's really going on. But here's the other thing. We have to create a safe space, and that goes both ways. We have to create a safe space for each other to be able to be honest and open and share. If I know you're going to judge me, I'm not going to share. If I know you're going to tell my business, I'm not going to share. So share with our listening audience, what are some challenges that you've had to overcome as a man as it relates to mental health? Let's start there.
Well, I've encountered a lot of things, where I was dealing with a lot of belittling, a lot of negativity, and it felt like it was mentally, draining and hurt me in a way where I felt like, this is something I had to bear with, mentally
Mm-hmm.
because, as a young man, a boy, I've encountered a lot of that from most likely sad to say grown ups, even in my family. And
Okay.
being a child, of course, I was always taught to, respect my elders and everything. But
Mm-hmm.
on that other note, I felt like, well, you know what? I really don't have to be give it that kind of respect if this is the kind of stuff I got to bear with because I really didn't think it was wise and right that I had to bear with that kind of verbal attitude. And I felt like it was mentally, hurt me deep, you know.
Okay. So what did you do to deal with those mental health challenges after you realize, okay, this is really hurting me? How was it hurting you? Was it hurting you, in your mind? Was it hurting you physically, and or spiritually? So you can touch base in any area of that in the way you want. But share with our listening audience, like, how did you approach it? Did you notice it
Well,
right away?
truthfully, well, as time went on, I always thought about, the fact that, you know, having faith in God, I really had to think about the fact that, when I started having more faith in God, it really, in a way, maybe overcome a lot, as the years went by. And even though I've still encountered a lot of that, and it really made me realize, people are going to be people going to be, but
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
there were times I stood my ground about it. Some folks, probably didn't expect that to become of me.
Mm-hmm.
Being that I was supposed to be the quiet, nice person they thought I was, but at the same time, when some folks feel that they can, you know, make me feel belittled and make me feel defeated, or say things like "you slow," "you retarded,"
Oh
things like
wow.
that. That's the kind of stuff that really hurted me growing up. But then as the years went by, I realized, I'm none of those things because it was like Les Brown had said, because I watched his program where
Mm-hmm.
him being a man himself, he's went through a lot of things too.
Mm-hmm.
See, but what really helped me overcome this is that, is that I had to keep the faith, be myself, be strong, and most of all, be thankful that I came across a lot of encouraging people who had something encouraging and positive to say, even if it involves speaking about God in a way to motivate me.
Mm-hmm.
And as a man, I had to really think, are there any other men who've encountered what I've encountered? And then, of course, some of them
Mm-hmm.
feel, I can't speak for any man, but I know, but I can really, but I can say this. Some men probably feel ashamed or feel that if they express how they felt, growing up dealing with mental, situations in general, that people will look at them in a different light and make them feel more belittled, making them feel worse.
Mm. Okay. And thank you for sharing that. Do you think it's important for other men to, when they're dealing with mental health challenges or physical challenges, to have other men around them to help them through that? Or what do you think is the best way for a man to deal with those things?
Well, I say it depends on what kind of men they're dealing with
Mm-hmm.
because it's sad to say this is the truth. I'm going to have to speak up. It is sad. Yeah, it depends on what kind of men you're dealing with and what kind of men they are because to be on a level, I only notice it's only about 30 or say 40% of the men, I say 30% of at least some of the men who are more encouraging, more uplifting and more, you know, more God fearing all at the same time. And of course, I say those numbers need to rise more and more because it depends on what kind of men they dealing with because you got some men out here who are either toxic, negative, and a bad influence, and worst of all, not showing the kind of setting a good example for other men on how to overcome these things.
Okay. Joe, you could chime in too. Get your perspective in there because every guy's different. What is your thoughts on do you think it's important for a guy to have someone in their circumference if they're dealing with a mental issue or a physical health issue to kind of help them through that process?
I
I
mean,
think so.
go ahead,
Sorry.
Michael.
No, you first. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, my opinion, everyone needs someone, whether you're going through something or not. It's always good to have someone that have your back. Now, especially, if you're dealing with some type of issue, mental health, physical health, whatever, of course, you definitely need someone. Like a couple days ago, my man Miles, he's not feeling too good, and he needed me to come and get him and help him and, take him to the hospital. And, if it wasn't for me, I mean, he would have just been sitting there hurting because he couldn't do it on his own. So, I mean, you definitely need that person, someone that you can really trust that's going to have your back.
So how do you find that person, right? Like how do men find that person? Like how are those relationships built to know that okay, this is the person that I can call? And where does it point? Where does it start? And if there might be guys out there that don't have nobody and they may be trying to find somebody like who is that person that they know they can count on. So both of y'all can respond to that.
Well, I say, it's based on the nature of who that person is. I mean, because say for instance, if you know if a man is coming across another man who has something motivational, encouraging, what I mean, a good spirited man, because that's the kind of man we need right now in our lives, and the kind of men who, even if they're fathers too, because it is known that from one man to a young man, and the young man who is feeling motivated by what the older man is talking about. This really shows that depending on how they're going to motivate them and how they're going to build them up and how they're going to encourage them. In other words, build them up. Just to build them up build them up and let them know they still have confidence to overcome a lot. They just got to keep on being strong, not only for themselves but for the people that who's standing behind them 100%.
Okay, Joe, your thoughts?
Well, my thoughts, well, me personally, I know everybody is different. It's hard to really find that good person that's really for you. And I didn't have so many people in and out of my life, and I really don't trust people, and really don't really get close to people like that because it's a lot of fake people out here. They with you in your life one day, and the next day they talking about you, beefing with you, all type of stuff over some stupid. But me, I believe I have a great discerning. That's
That's good.
yeah,
That's good.
that's one of my gifts from God. I really,
Right
really,
on.
really have a great discerning, and it's like I can just feel when a person is not right. It's I don't know if it's the chemistry or, like I said, it's just my gift. I can really feel when a person is not right. And I might not tell that person, I might not say nothing to the person about it, but what I do, I just don't deal with the person. So that's really kind of how I protect myself.
Facts.
Okay, so you just said a word, right? You said, I have a good spirit of discernment. Some people might not know what that is or what that means. So can you expound on that a little bit just to give our listeners an understanding of what that means when someone says, I have a good discernment?
Well, Webster Dictionary
My best
definition,
friend.
I can't tell you that. But it's really, it's like how can I explain it? It's like a feeling, put it like this, how when let's say you somewhere and all of a sudden you might be feeling good, and then all of a sudden you just get a feeling like oh, maybe I need to go. Something ain't right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's your discerning. If you might pull up at the gas station or a store or something, and you about to get out, go pump your gas, and then all of a sudden, something telling you like, no, bro, get back in the car.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You probably need to listen to that. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So, like I said, I can't tell you the Webster Dictionary definition because it's just really it's
Well, you
just me. It's
described it
just a
good.
strong feeling.
Mm-hmm.
It's some people might say your guardian angel or your conscience, whatever the case, but really that's your discerning. That's your gift from God, and it may be your guardian angel. It might be an angel telling you to get on, but yeah, it's still that's your discerning. That's your gift, and the more you exercise it, the stronger it get. I believe everybody has some type of discerning. But everybody doesn't use it.
That's good.
And
That's good.
that's why a lot of people, I believe, get hurt or get messed up because they don't listen
To that voice.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Facts.
Yeah.
Facts.
Yeah, and I would have to agree with that 100%. It's been several times that I knew it was God telling me not to do something, and I did it anyway. Prime example, my children's father, God told me, no, not now. That was his exact words. And my crazy self, I said, but he loved me, and I love him. Not listening to the voice of God, not adhering to, like Joe just said, that voice, that inner voice that's telling you like, you might not want to do this right now. You may not want to be in this relationship with this person in this way right now. And so I said I was going to do what I wanted to do, right? 8 years later, I paid for it. I went through a lot in that relationship that I don't think that I would have went through had I not just listened to the voice of God. And sometimes we allow our flesh. Joe talked about that flesh last week. We allow our flesh to overrule the voice of God. And like he just said, if we listen to that voice, that small, still voice, and like I said earlier, God is a gentleman. If we listen to that voice, we would not get hurt as much as we get hurt. We would not get into situations. Yes. That's a clap on that. We would not get into situations that we get into if we just listen to that voice that's telling us, like he said, oh, don't go that way. Oh, turn here. And I had to learn that, like, nobody likes being in traffic, right? And, I hate being late. And so sometimes, I'll get caught in traffic and then I'll see a major accident, right ahead of me. I'm like, oh, wow. If I was just 2 seconds or 10 seconds or 10 minutes earlier, that might have been my car. I might have been in that accident. And so a lot of times God is protecting us from things we can't even see, but we're so caught up in what we want, what we're doing, and it's now. We get frustrated and we allow ourselves to get overwhelmed when we don't even have to do that. And so over time, I've had to learn patience. I've always said, like, when you pray for patience, get ready for the test because they coming. You're like, oh, Lord, I need more patience. Give me more patience. Like, okay, you want patience? I'm about to test you. See what you do in this situation. So I took the liberty and looked up the word discernment. Is exactly what Joe said. It's the perception in the absence of judgment, which is spiritual guidance or understanding. That's the Webster's Dictionary version. Spiritual guidance or understanding. So Joe hit it right on the head when he mentioned the small, still voice. It is the ability to obtain sharp perceptions or to judge well. That's it. The ability to obtain sharp perceptions to judge well. And like he said, all of us have it. We just don't use it. We just don't listen. Michael, what are your thoughts in relates to having the spirit of discernment and how someone obtains that, obtains a spirit of discernment?
Well, just like what he was saying, and from what he said and from what you said, I mean, it got me thinking back on how I wish I hadn't done the things I did For example, like, getting involved, doing things I wish I had said I wasn't going to do, but I ended up doing it anyway. Like,
Mm-hmm.
for instance, like, they say fornicate outside of a marriage, that's a crime against God. And I do admit that's something I did. And I said, I wish I hadn't done that.
Mm-hmm.
But I realized years later, you know what? At least I ain't got no kids outside of that. And I'm glad at the same time, I'm glad I didn't go no further than that because not only that, it just made me realize that I've had my experiences, like having friends with benefits, and I said to myself, you know what? Had I been more caught up in more, in other words, had I listened to the voice that
Mm-hmm.
was telling me,
Mm-hmm.
don't do this, don't do that, I said I wouldn't be having those experiences. But what I learned from that is, future reference,
Mm-hmm.
listen to the voice,
Mm-hmm.
follow the red flags, and most of all, don't ignore the vibes, don't know anything. Because there's a saying, and I've always believed this, and it's something I was always told, and I still believe it no matter what. God works in mysterious ways because what I learned from those experiences that, well, you know what? I did what I did, but you know what? That somebody once told me I can't change the past, but I know one thing.
You could
Look forward to
change
the
the
future.
future.
And
Exactly.
exactly. That's why I say, but future reference.
Mm-hmm.
Next time, just take it step by step. Be patient. And a
Mm-hmm.
friend of mine once told me this too. Test them waters before you drink them because they might be poison.
That's good. Test them waters before you drink it because it might be poison. Um, I'm gonna be real with you. Sometimes I ain't even testing the waters. Cause like he talked about that spirit of discernment. Gotta tell you, oh, that's nasty. Don't even
hmm
go near that. Beep, 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 beep. Back up,
No,
right?
right.
Um, I you mentioned something. You said friends with benefits, right?
Right.
Sometimes, like I was at a point in a place in my life, like when I got divorced from my girl's father, and I was always the good girl. Always did everything right. Always, did the right thing because that was the way I was taught and raised. And at
hmm
going through that transition, like a divorce is a death, y'all. Like it's a death, like a real death in the family. And it affects the children in different ways. And so I had to learn that, as my children got older. But I got to a point I said, you know what, I'm about to do me, you know. Um, I'm gonna do me and do what I want to do. If I want to go out on a date with a different dude every day, that's what I'm gonna do. But here's the thing about that. When God has something invested in you and he has a purpose for you, no matter what you do, no matter how you sway, no matter how you veer off, you're always going to come back right to where he wants you to be. Because
hmm
that got old, y'all. Like, I got tired of, going to Maxie's and right there on Telegraph for 96 and all,
hmm
whatever. I got tired of all of that because it was like, God was like, this is not what I have for you. I have something else for you. And so God had to show me like, yeah, you want to do this, but this ain't what I want you to do. So he flat out told me, until you do what I tell you to do, when I tell you to how you do it, you ain't gonna never have no peace. And that
True.
was straight facts. And so I literally had to learn how to submit to the plan that God had for my life, submit to his will. And my grandmother used to tell me this all the time. She said, God will get your attention in one or two ways. He'll do things in your life miraculously where it's miracle, where it's nobody but God to get your attention. Or he'll do the
hmm
opposite. Things will happen in your life that will drop you to your knees, where you can't do anything but surrender everything to him and cry out to him and allow him to pull you back where you were your rightful place, right? Where you were supposed to be. So tonight, if you're just tuning in, we're talking about the importance of good mental, physical, and spiritual health. My guest tonight is Mr. Marco Cochran and my gracious engineer, Mr. Joe. And I wanted to get a men's perspective, you all, on the importance of these things and, just have a little sneak preview into what are our men thinking about? What are our men dealing with? And why don't they want to talk to us, ladies? Right? So can y'all share, like, what are some reasons, like, you don't want to tell your woman, your girl, or whatever that's going on? And ladies, this is not, no pun intended on us, but I wanted to just do this so we can help ourselves, help our men, because you got mothers raising sons as well.
Facts.
Yeah, that's true.
Facts. That's the truth. That is definitely true.
So what's some stuff we need to cut out, y'all? We as ladies, so we can help our men have a better mental health, have a better physical health, and a better spiritual health.
Well, for one, it's always better to just, not make them feel belittled and not compare them to what the last man's done
Mm,
because, and most of all, always keep in mind, yeah, not every man is made to be perfect, but you got men out there who don't mind, let me rephrase that. I mean, there are some good men out there. You got some bad men out there, but the only thing to do is just, to pray, let God guide them in a direction to do the right thing,
mm-hmm,
to uplift and encourage the man to be
mm-hmm,
strong and be supportive of how he's trying to do the better thing instead of accepting bad influence from those who don't have
mm-hmm.
that kind of nature and who don't have who have these toxic spirits, in other words.
Mm. Okay. So ladies, Michael just told us don't belittle the men, don't belittle them. Don't talk to them condescending. And uh what was the third thing? You gave us 3 tips on how we as women can help our men be better men. There was one more you said, Michael.
Oh, and I would say, I mean, as long as I put it like this, as long as they know that men are going to make mistakes just like they are,
Mm-hmm.
de- depending on the nature of that mistake, it's always better to just talk it out, pray about it, talk it out, and
Okay.
just let God show you let God show the signs of what the next step ought to be.
So basically, ladies, what he's saying is don't be popping off at the mouth, for lack of a better word. Joe, like, yeah, you need to clap on that one. Because he put it in a nice way. Just pray, which we do need to do, and talk it through. So, Joe, what are 3, what's something, I'm not going to limit to 3, whatever you want to share. What are some things that we as women can do or stop doing to help our men be better men and have a better physical, mental, and spiritual health?
Well, I'm with Michael on that one. Excuse me. The main thing that I believe a woman do is really talk to a man like they crazy. You know, I need a woman, not a mother. Understand
Y'all
what I'm
heard
saying?
that? You need a woman, not a mother.
And a lot of women, that's what they think they is. You know,
Facts.
they try to
Real
be your
talk.
mother. You know what I'm saying?
Real talk.
Which one you gonna be? You know what I'm
Real
saying? You
talk.
gonna sleep with me at night or you gonna whoop me in the morning? You know what I'm saying?
Did y'all hear that? He said you gonna
Oh,
sleep with me at
wow.
night or you
Real
gonna whoop
talk,
me
my
in the
brother.
morning.
You know what I mean?
Oh
Real talk.
Jesus.
But that's really I believe that's the biggest problem, the the
Mm-mm-mm.
biggest reason why men and women clash. You know, because
Facts.
9 times out of 10, a man, he's not about to come at a woman crazy. You know what I'm saying? Even if a man is feeling out of himself that day, may depressed, whatever. Men get depressed some days too. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
He gonna sit back, he gonna chill. He's not about to come at this woman. Blah, 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 blah. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
He just needs some time alone. Leave him alone.
Okay.
But
Mhm.
women, on the other hand, they don't do that. You know what I'm saying? She might see the man over here. He just needs some time by himself. Now she coming and nagging him, and he telling her like, "No, I'm cool." You know, just like, now she, you know what I'm saying? Now it become a problem. Like,
Mm-hmm.
but it shouldn't be. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Just respect him. You know what I'm saying? Respect his boundaries. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? And I believe that's how a lot of men and women clash. Really, it's no respect for each other's boundaries.
That's a big one
Facts.
right there.
Facts.
Respect each other's boundaries.
Mhm.
I'm a firm believer in people have to have I call it their me time. And that's basically what Joe just said. Like, if I'm telling you I'm good, I need to chill, then, you know, men and women deal with things differently, and I am in 100 total agreement, respect each other boundaries. Because I'm the type of person, like, if I got something going on, we going at it, and if I say, okay, I don't want to talk about this no more, I need to breathe, I need a moment, allow me that. Because
Facts.
what I'm doing is I'm calming myself down, because you don't want me to be stuck at 10 and then go to 20, because then it could go somewhere else. So if I'm saying, give me a moment or I'll come back to you. Now, here's my thing. If you say you're going to come back to me, come back to me. Don't like just like have stuff lingering on, because what that does, it builds up to another problem. It builds up to another issue. Then you got multiple issues and you got multiple problems because you said you was gonna come back to me and you didn't come back to me. But give me a time frame. I'll get back to you in a week, or I'll get back to you tomorrow, or whatever. But keep your word. So and I'm giving the tips, from a lady's point of view, ladies, so we can help our men. Like that's one of mine. Like, if you're gonna come back to me, just come back to me. And then if when you come back to me, it still's not worked out, then just tell me that. You know what? I know I said I was gonna get back to you in a week. I want to keep my word, but I'm still working on it. I'm still trying to figure it out, or it's not fixed, whatever. That to me is just true communication. That's basically what it is. True communication. Having that open and honest. But Joe hit on it. It deals with the trust. Like in the beginning, each person give that person the benefit of the doubt until something happens and that trust is broken, or something is said and that trust is broken. And then it's like, okay, pump the brakes, because it's like, okay, now I see this other side. I love this person, or I'm in love with this person. Well, how do I deal with that? And without that open and honest communication, I am the firm believer, like, in a relationship, be upfront and honest. Say what it is that you want from the jump. This is what it is. This is what it ain't. This is what it's going to be. And then allow that other person to make their own decision. If you know you out here and you just want to just just have sex, then just say that. You know what I'm saying? Be honest and upfront, and then allow the woman to make the decision. And ladies, same thing. A lot of times women play mind games, back and forth with our guys, and just be honest. Look, this is what I want. This is what I'm looking for. This is what I not want. This, be honest. I think if we have that honest up front, it alleviates so many more problems down the line and things that come up, because at that point, then I'm able to make an informed decision. He's able to make an informed decision on whether he want to deal with you or not, or she want to deal with you. In whatever way that is, whether it's a friendship, whether it's a relationship, whether it's just whatever the confinements of that agreement is. I truly believe if both parties are upfront and honest, you won't have all those issues. All right. So if y'all just tuning in, you're tuning in to The Fabric of Life. My guest, Mr. Michael Cochran, and my amazing engineer, Joe. We're talking about the importance of good mental, physical, and spiritual health. If you want to join the discussion, please call in at 248-854-9850. Again, the call-in number is 248-854-9850. Now, I told y'all I have prizes to give out tonight. I got this Starbucks gift card. The first 3 people that order from my website got a Starbucks gift card. Somebody gonna get that tonight. And I'm gonna give out the website. Also have 2 framed arts. This says positive vibes only, because we're talking about the importance of good mental and physical health. Even right here, I'm on live and I'm on my Facebook Live too. You guys, if you want to jump in on this, the first 3 people that order from my website, I am a distributor of all natural health and wellness products, because we're talking about the importance of good mental, physical, and spiritual health. So somebody's going to win this. It says positive vibes only. Then I have another framed art. It says, there will always be someone who can't see your worth. Don't let it be you. Again, it says there will always be someone who can't see your worth. Don't let it be you. And then I'm also going to give out a 5-pack of my CBD coffee, right? This coffee helps with stress, anxiety, depression. It just keeps you calm. It's a luxury premium coffee. You're going to get 5 packs free for the first 3 people that goes to my website. So I'm going to give out the website right now. And Joe's going to put it up on the screen. It's probably already up there. And it's https://gracious girls health, that's all together, at Tava, Tava, lifestyle.com. And it's on the screen for you. So again, the first 3 people, and once the order is placed, I'll get a notification, and so I'll have your information, and then I'll be able to ship out your free gifts. So again, we're talking about the importance of good mental, physical, and spiritual health. So I said I wanted to give out some tips, and it's 7:50. We're wrapping it up. So I'm going to give out, and I'm going to share these, and you gentlemen, you guys can chime in and tell me if you think these are good tips and add to them if you like. Because I really, really think it's always important to get a man's point of view on everything, because men think different from women, y'all. So first I want to start with the mental health tips. So keep a journal, cut out bad habits, take up a new hobby, give yourself some time. I mean, by yourself. Just do something for yourself by yourself. Manage your stress. Do something you enjoy for you. Not nobody else, but for you.
Church.
Ask for support in a crisis. Joe just shared an example how he had to help his friend out because his friend was in a crisis. And so if he wasn't available to go assist him, he would have just been there by himself. And so we all need someone. And then eat well. So those are the tips that I have for good mental health tips. Do y'all have any additional tips that might be good for men?
Well, I would say, just distance themselves from toxic people, distance themselves from toxic people who they feel is not giving them no kind of motivation. And also, and even if it's so-called friends, even if you've known it for a long time, even family, because
sometimes it's family. You right about that.
Because at the same time, as long as you're trying to keep a happy spirit,
yes,
a healthy life,
yes,
and a growing spirit in you, where you have God in your life that you have to thank every day, which is also the best thing to do, regardless. Yes. So I would say, the best solution. The main best is to distance yourself from toxic people and situations, because it's unhealthy and it can really, really discourage the spirit and kill it.
Okay, Joe, do you have anything to help add to the mental health tips?
Well, that's true. What Michael said. Definitely, you definitely have to distance yourself from toxic people, because that poison, that mess get into you, and man, it's bad. Really, they can tear you up, have you sick, and all type of stuff. And me personally, it's some days I just have to do me. Because I do so much every day, and for not just me, but for everybody. And a lot of times I just get overwhelmed, excuse me, with doing what everybody else needs and wants to do, that I really don't have time to take care of me. And when I get like that, I get stressed and excuse me. So yeah, it's really those days that I just have to just stop and just take care of me, do me, and I feel much better. I feel much better after that.
And how often do you make sure you get something in for just you?
I try at least about two days out the week, because like I said, I'm so busy every day. I'm running businesses and doing everything. Like I got a guy calling me now, but so really, it's really. So I at least try to do at least 2 days out the week, not the whole day, but at least a couple hours. Where I just shut everybody down and I just take care of me. And I just feel a lot better.
All right, that's awesome. All right, so here are some physical health tips: exercise regularly. Eat more fruits and vegetables, less fast food. Get a good night's sleep. Wash your hands and drink more water. So do y'all have anything to add to that for men?
Well, I would say, just think of a good routine where you can stay productive, like if you want to do something recreational to get your mind off things, to just, like you just said, exercise right, eat right. And also, I would add to that, don't create bad habits like going to the bars, getting drunk, getting hooked on drugs, knowing that's not going to solve any problem. That's going to really damage people's mental capacity, where the habits become so overwhelming that one day in life they're going to be in so much denial, not realizing that. How should I put this? In other words, just sticking to the just going with the right physical routines without having to create bad habits for themselves to make themselves feel you, but to try to add more problems for themselves.
Okay.
In other words, like
in other words, for example, like what I do, if I like what I do to keep myself, mentally and physically fit. I mean, if I'm having one of those days, a confession, I'm not ashamed to admit, if I'm ever having one of those days and everything, I either go to the river walk or have time to myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I also, I have to remind myself, I tell people, well, this is not a good time to talk right now. I'll talk to y'all later because I'm overcome, I'm trying, because right now I have to fight daily battles and everything, but I will have
Mm-hmm.
to say this. I have to motivate and encourage myself like I tell others. So I would say, uh, I say just stay. I say just stay, stay as productive as they can, but at the same time, don't create bad habits for themselves to think their problems are going to go away because it's going to really make the problem worse.
Okay. Joe, you have anything to add to that?
Well,
Wrap it up.
yeah, you pretty much hit it on the nose on that one, Michael.
All right. And then the last thing we have is spiritual health tips. Connect with your faith community if you're a person of faith. Volunteer to help others. One thing I found is that when I help other people, I give back. It gives me a sense of gratitude. It gives me a sense of like I love like doing stuff for the homeless. And just like Thanksgiving, I would cook all this food for my whole family. We have all this food, so I would box it up the next day and just drive around the city, and pass it out. I would heat it up, make sure they got silverware, dessert, and a bottle of water. I love doing that stuff. And I remember when I first took my girls to help out with the homeless, they didn't understand it, but now they like it. And so,
Okay.
we have to show our children too how to give back.
Real talk.
Because if you take and never give back, I believe, that's how people become selfish. Exercise, meditate, speak with a minister to kind of release, whatever is going on if you have one or find one. Focus on your hobbies. So do y'all have anything to add to that as it relates to good spiritual health tips?
Continue to keep motivating and encouraging others in different ways because that's the thing that we as people in general need to have. So I would say, it's always better to just keep motivating not only ourselves but other people too, because honestly, there's not enough. I mean, there's some going on out there, but we just need more of that to come about because some folks could, some folks may. How should I put this? For instance, like if I would say, I say the best thing to do is just keep motivating, thanking God for it all, letting God lead you in a way that God is leading you, and not letting anybody or anyone who's not where you at on that level of your faith trip you up.